So we'll be talking about risk management, and I've been in that field for many years. I've got to admit that by and large, risk management is taken with a grain of salt, maybe with the exception of some industries like aerospace, nuclear, and automotive, mainly because when there is a problem in those fields, then the cost of resolving them may be extremely high. So in this webinar, I will describe the risk management process in general, but I will focus on the financial aspects because that's what attracts the attention of senior management. And when a dollar figure is associated with a risk, then the probability that this risk will be taken into account is that much higher. There is also the new ISO standard, the ISO 9001 standard that has been recently released, which changes the focus from evidence-based to risk-based. So essentially, organizations that need to maintain their ISO 9001 certification must now demonstrate that their quality system, the quality system that they have established in their organization, is contributing in reducing risk, and it's not just a matter of verifying that it's actually followed, that it's applied in the work that the organization is doing. I'll start by the definition of risk, because it's not the definition of risk is not really uniform. I mean, it varies a lot. If in the Webster Dictionary, for instance, risk is defined as the probability of suffering loss, and risk, as shown in the diagram, really it results from a change, and the change entails a loss or an opportunity, and based on that, a decision has to be made. And that decision will entail more changes, which will also result in more losses and more opportunities, and more decisions are being made. So it's very easy to see that this can translate into a tornado and become very detrimental to an organization. Now, often I hear the comment about negative risks and positive risks. And I must admit that this makes me cringe a little bit, because if risks are positive, then the idea is that we want to maximize risk, and which doesn't make much sense. We always want to minimize risk, because risk is really uncertainty, and we always want to minimize uncertainty. Now, a risk can have positive or negative consequences, and now it makes sense to talk about positive and negative. I will show a little bit of an exercise just to elaborate on those concepts. And I refer here to the Monty Hall problem. The Monty Hall was a TV show many years ago where there was a participant and there was an animator. And the animator was asking the participant to choose one of three doors. Behind one door, there was a prize, and the two other doors, there was something insignificant. So in this case, assume that behind one door, there is a Ferrari, and behind the two other doors, there is a goat. So if I'm the participant, the animator asked me, choose a door, don't open it, and then the animator will open one of the two other doors and will ask me if I want to change my mind. Now, the question is, should I or should I not change my mind? So it looks like it doesn't make any difference. I mean, I got 50%. If I change my mind, I have 50% of winning the car. If I don't change my mind, I have 50% of winning the car, because there are now two doors that are not unopened. Well, intuitively, that's what most of us would think, but actually, it is wrong, and we can demonstrate that mathematically, and then I will show you graphically how it looks like, just to demonstrate the concept. So, let's assume, keep it simple in terms of math. Let's assume that X, Y, and Z represent the three doors, and then the Fx, Fy, and Fz represent the outcome, that there is a Ferrari between door X, Y, or Z. And let's also assume, let's say that AX, AY, and AZ represent the event the animator opens door X, Y, or Z, respectively. That I will win the Ferrari after having chosen a door without opening it, let's say door X, and then changing my mind, is the probability that the car behind the door Z, and the probability that the animator will open door Y, which is equal to 1, because it's certainly not in his advantage to open the door behind which there is a Ferrari. To that is added the probability that the car is behind door Y, and the probability that the dealer chooses door Z, which again is equal to 1. So in this mathematically, this is expressed as the probability of winning the Ferrari for me by changing my mind. The probability that the animator chooses door Y, the probability that the Ferrari is behind door Z, plus the probability that the animator chooses door Z, and the fact that the Ferrari is behind door Y. Now, using the Bayes theorem, we can see that the probability is equal to 1/3. There is a little bit of a symbol problem here on the slide, but if you do the computation, it comes up with 2/3. So if I change my mind, my chances of winning the Ferrari are 2 times less than if I do change my mind. And we can see that without using math in the following diagram. So if I choose the first door, and assuming that the Ferrari is behind that door, the animator chooses one of the 2 other doors. So if I don't change my mind, I win the Ferrari. If I do change my mind, then I win a goat. Now, the second case is that I choose the middle door behind which there is a goat. And the animator will choose the third door. He will not choose the first door because the first door shows the Ferrari. He will choose the third door. If I change my mind, I win the Ferrari. And if I don't change my mind, I win the goat. And finally, the third scenario is that I choose the third door, and the animator opens the middle door. If I change my mind, again, I win the car. If I don't change my mind, I win the goat. This is just a simple example showing that sometimes intuition can be misleading when we do risk assessments. Now, normally, the risk is defined as follows. It's based on the following factors. It's based on the likelihood or the frequency of occurrence of a risk.